The initial essential function of this interview was for me to practice talking through the interview protocol, feeling out the way that questions sounded and were sequenced, trying out follow-up questions, and walking through the screen share part of the interview. In this video clip from early in the recorded Zoom call, it's evident that I'm practicing this with you for the first time. As I move from scripted language about the study and scripted questions to a question that's specific to the syllabus you and I are looking at together, I work through a long string of discourse to ask you a question, and you ask me for clarification. More than just a moment of working through some funky phrasing, this is a place where, in trying to get the question clearly articulated, we also start to give voice to something about how teachers enact pedagogical values about reflection.
When I agreed to perform the role play, I believed that I was helping you prepare for your future interviews with WPAs. To be as helpful as possible, I wanted to understand your questions. Then I could provide responses that were concrete and with any hope indicate possible responses from WPAs. Watching the clip, it's evident that I was concerned about speaking directly to your question without any misunderstanding. I had a couple different thoughts as I listened to the question. I realized quickly that you could be interested in one of two ideas. One, building practices for pedagogical reflection into the practicum to support professionalization, or two, reflection as a programmatic value that trickles down from instructor to student and is used across all writing courses. At our university, there's a strong emphasis placed on student reflection in FYC courses, so that emphasis was at the forefront of my mind as you asked your question. You could have meant for the question to elicit comments that identified if and how the practicum syllabus evidenced program values. However, you may have also been looking for some context for how that document captures program values that extend beyond and are carried by instructors into undergraduate courses. Either way, I think the aspect that is most generative for our audience now is that the interview format via Zoom afforded moments to talk back and forth and better understand one another's intentions. We were able to get clarification from one another, but more importantly, see where the interview would lead.
Yes, and I think that while we tried to get that clarification, we were evidently manifesting our multiple roles. I had held on to a quote from Chris Burnham and Rebecca Jackson for a long while in the notes, but I think this clip is one spot where we see their description of the fluid role play that those authors described when they wrote, a professor, TA, educator, or administrator in one instant might shift from being a self-assured professional following a familiar plan to solve a well-defined problem to being a vulnerable improviser, an artist, responding to the surprise of the moment, pursuing the opportunity to reconcile various experiences and perspectives, ultimately devising new moves to address the situation at hand. That improvisation they describe was only beginning at the start of the interview, but we worked together to navigate the moment.